Well, as no surprise to a large number of you who watch this channel, I'm very excited about the Neural DSP John Mayer plugin, and I'm excited about it for a handful of reasons. Let's just dive in. I got the plugin pulled up here. I'm doing the trial for right now just because I don't gonna love it, but I think also I just want to know if I'm gonna find myself playing it a lot, because I don't just sit around and play guitar for fun as much as it is like work and preparation and stuff. And I'm probably going to end up getting it. But in case you did not know, you can get a free 14-day trial. I will say, I don't know as many Mayer riffs and songs as maybe some people might think. I have found that it just is not something I want to do. And again, I'll get into that at the end. So I'm going to play like the Walmart version of the riffs, like the riffs that like I've just kind of just stumbled upon because I've been messing around and figured out like the essence of it, so you know what song it is. Not necessarily I learned it note for note and ghost notes and all that stuff. So we're just gonna check this out, see how it sounds. I'm gonna offer some thoughts and go from there. So that is the default sound out of the box, which I believe I only did a little bit of research on the plugin specifically because I really just wanted to like enjoy it for myself in real time with you. And the default is like John's default, like that's how it is. Very surprised at how long of a tail the reverb has. That's really interesting. If we look here, 3 amps. From what I understand, also they haven't done anything like this with Neural yet, so this is cool because of that. You'll see here, this button has 3 amps in it. That is, if you kind of want like all 3 at the same time, that's how you get it. And then you have some volume knobs really just as like, if you want to mix a little bit more. You have a room send, we'll get to that. You have an output, all this on, oh, there's notes right here. Controls the 3-in-1 amps global output level without affecting the tone. Okay, so yeah, it's just volume. And then room send controls the 3-in-1 amp room send. Okay, well, pretty self-explanatory. Gain adjust the input level 3-in-1 amp turning the amount of sort. Okay, so the gain is a global gain for all 3 amps at the same time. Neck pickup, by the way, this is just a 2024. It's on the headstock. Black, satin black tee, silver sky. I love this thing. I had an Orion green from like 2020 or 2021, something like that. And they were the same guitar, sure, but the neck on this feels different. I like it more. The pickups are a little lower output. They're not as scooped. They're more full. They've been tweaking the guitars ever since they made the first prototype. So there's that. And I'm going to be using a couple different picks. I'm using just like a standard run-of-the-mill like Tortex kind of thing just because. And then this is my signature honey pick. It's really thick. I have not tried blue chip. That is what John is known for using. You know, these are pricey in their own right. I really like this one, and it's really thick. But the texture of it, or the material, it glides off the strings really easily unless you want to use the bumps, which I really love, which I tend to use anyways. So that's important stuff. I'm going straight into my Apollo using one of the high Z inputs. And then I have Logic open just to record this, but I'm using the plugin standalone. You don't need like to put it inside of a DAW or anything. This is a little bit easier for us with editing and stuff to do this way. And also there's the latency is eliminated a bit more instead of going into a DAW and all that. And I don't know. So anyways, let's just turn up some gain, see what happens. I'm like really excited to check this out. I'm really excited about this. This is so fun because there is no, like this is the only way we will ever get to play John's rig. I don't even know, like, there was a rig rundown with Premier Guitar years ago, and it was with this old tech, and John was doing things differently then. He's always doing stuff differently. So, I mean, the chances, and John wasn't even in the video, so the chances of somebody getting to play John's rig aren't that great, and except with this. So this is exciting. I'm a fan of the bass tone. It sounds like John, and I'm using a guitar that is John's, and I'm not him, but he gave it his seal of approval. So I think he has a reputation for not just throwing his name on things. There's really not much in the way of like signature John Mayer, right? It's been more the last few years, which is interesting. Acoustic strings, electric strings. He's got this signature guitar. He had the Fender. He's got the Martin. You know, like we know like the cables and picks he uses, and you get that kind of stuff too. But he doesn't have pedals, right? I should know this, but I'm pretty certain. I'm certain there's none of that. So let's do this. I don't want to necessarily dive into the individual amps just yet. Let's start looking at some presets of John's. And there's also, just for the record, there is a lot of presets in here from other killer guitar players, other killer artists. We won't get into that, but let's just start. E flat Voodoo. Okay, so it's just one amp. Maybe I should play an E flat. I'm all tripping over my fingers. I'm so excited. All right, let's see. What is on? So the half man, which is a Klon, the Just a Boost, which is like a Katana, and then the millipede to delay, which is like the Aquapus. A little bit of delay there. That doesn't. Okay, so the spring verb is on the gravity tank. We'll come back to this stuff in a second. This is really cool. I need to be messing with Neural's stuff more often. Okay, so this is like the Providence delay, probably like maybe a delay 80s, I would assume. Like a chrono delay, he uses that a lot. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but the sound of those is pretty typical. But okay, Golden Gate, what's this supposed to be? It sounds like him. I'm excited about that. This is awesome. Okay, so TS10 Klon Katana on for that as well. Spring Reaver, which is probably on a lot at the time, and then the Studio, which looking at the knobs kind of makes me think of Valhalla. So maybe this is like studio processing stuff that he uses. So he probably uses Valhalla in the studio. This sounds like him. I need to break down. This is a great way to figure out how to implement these sounds into your own rig, is by looking how this is set up. That sounds like it. And I'm not... I don't remember how to play it. The way John does like double stops and stuff is not something that it's different every time, and so I don't remember to do that. But that sounds like it. I don't know what Golden Gate's supposed to be referencing though. Okay, gravity clean. Now I got some hate on a video I did for the UA Enigmatic, which is like, you know, Dumble style pedal. I cannot for the life of me feel comfortable doing the bends in gravity and make it sound clean. So you get what you get. See, See, it just doesn't feel natural to me. I expect the gravity, the verb and the trem is on for this, and yes. I have no idea how people knew that. I remember somebody telling me like 10 some odd years ago that there was trem on the gravity intro. How could you hear that? It was so faint. Sounds good. Gravity lead. Let's see. Can't play that one either, but it works for me. That's awesome. All right, Gravity OD. Is this like big solo? This is, you may be bored. Okay, ODX. So like in the Where the Light Is version of Gravity, there's like 4 or 5 solo sections, and so this just sounds like there's more and more gain. Let's see. Okay, so Teal Breaker. What if I bring it? Are knobs changing too? Yeah, knobs are changing. Let's see if we go back to lead. Yeah, that's not even on. So the lead is the TS10, right? Yes, TS10. Okay, so changes color when you change it. So the TS10, well, the Teal Breaker has a TS10 or Bluesbreaker option. And I'm trying to think back. Did we see Tube Screamer and Bluesbreaker on the same board for Mayor? It probably has happened. Find an interesting choice that they did that. It's digital. Why not just put both in? But it could very well be that John just, he's like, hey, I never stack them, so we can put them the same way. Okay. Okay, that was Gravity Rhythm, but that just sounds so good. Hot Bridge! Okay, so, like, side note here, Strat pickups are notorious for being scooped, you know, and the John Mayer Fender signature guitar, the Big Dipper pickups are highly sought after because of how scooped they, well, not because of how scooped they are, but they are they're highly sought after, and they are massively scooped. And when you use something like a Tube Screamer, it brings things back. So if you're using like a full-on pickup, especially like a Telly with the Tube Screamer into a Vox, for example, that's a lot of mids going on. But if you're using something a little more even, which, you know, a dumbbell tends to be known for that. And every dumbbell's different, so you can't really, you know, give a blanket statement there. But a Fender is known for being scooped in the mids. A lot of them are, but I don't think they're known for being as scooped as a Vox is pushed in the mids, if that makes sense. But you throw a Tube Screamer on for a lead, it's definitely gonna bring you like more to, especially on a bridge pickup, it's gonna put you more into like a normal territory. So I don't know what this Just Plain Dumb is. Let's check it out. That is so cool. All right, lead one. What's this doing? Okay, so that's just Tube Screamer. So lead one live room. We haven't got into the other stuff. So it's sending to it's hitting the room send, whereas the lead one does not. Same thing. Katana and Tube Screamer. I think the knobs are the same. Yep, Katana and Tube Screamer. He just adds it live. All right, lead two. This is Klon, Tube Screamer, and Katana. Lead two, live room. That's one I've spent a little bit of time on, but not enough. And I'm tripping all over my hands. I'm just like genuinely enjoying myself right here. Stately Blues, what this is. All right, well, as it stands, I'm just gonna get this thing. This is a lot of fun. All right, ultra clean. Is it more than 1 amp? Okay, so this is just the dumbbell. that sounds like that song. I mean, I think 4 position on a Strat will do it too, but all right, so there's a couple more. They're just outside of my screen recording stretch that I didn't realize I had. Ultra clean dub. Oh. Yeah, so it does that thing. Ultra clean dub delay. Okay, so those are all the presets. Can we go to default? Let's go to default. By now, plenty of videos exist with people talking about and playing through the sounds. And if you're watching this, you must be really committed or to like the preset and you really just want to hear a lot of people play it. Or maybe you like us, or maybe somehow the algorithm thought that when you search for it, you should see our video. If that's you, by the way, subscribe. We need to get way better about asking this and suggesting this when you watch, but we do this kind of content. We talk about like the digital side of things. We really like it. And we also really love the idea of pairing analog and digital together and figuring out how to get digital to sound more like analog and figuring out how to use analog to do things digital does and having a lot of fun with all of that. Just, you know, this is like the perfect thing. John Mayer being known for his impeccable taste in gear and being so intentional with how he crafts tones, for him to make this with Neural means that he really thinks it sounds awesome. And so that's really cool to me. And the fact that he's put his name on it. Anyway, subscribe if you haven't. We make stuff like this and videos like this, and we make products too. And now I'm wondering how I can use this live the best way possible. I mean, maybe capture it. I could do that, I suppose. So let's look at the individual things we have here. So this verb is on. So the studio verb puts it in the space, but the spring verb is on default. Okay, so the studio verb to me seems like it's really there on the back end of the signal, whereas the spring, and it's not really supposed to be very hot, it's supposed to carry it to make it feel real ethereal. Spring verb is on, that's what makes it feel wet. Like I can tell. How can I make a video about the John Mayer plugin and not play at least part of that? So anyways, the spring verb is like what makes, that's like the effect you feel, and then the studio verb is after and it kind of fills it out. So the just the boost is on. It's a katana, I'm assuming. I like it. Bass tone, that is. Here's a katana though. So it has, I wonder what it's doing then if it's not boosted. So it's just a clean boost. Yeah, so on the katana, if you pull the volume knob out, it's the same kind of idea. So I got it here. I'm really surprised. There was no like, don't trust myself preset when this pedal's here, but let's see. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I've dialed in some things that I think sound pretty close to that, but it's cool to... It's clear to hear how John intends it. the pickup you use is going to change things too, because it's like the level that's pushing that thing. So I would assume the signal chain is left to right, which is interesting. You know, could you move it? That'd be cool. I don't know if you want, because often John will have like some sort of a boost in the loop of the Qtron, so maybe that's built in instead. I don't know. He does. Lately, he's been using like the Super Clean from Exotic too. That's cool. And of course, the attack that you play it with. But all right, so Half Man, it's a Klon. Let's just hear it by itself. Man, playing these amps, you know, obviously they're digital, so it's not, they can do whatever they want. But it's supposed to be emulating these big high headroom amps. Reverb does that pretty well on its own, but that's probably like the most broken up. The Reverb probably is the one that breaks up the most out of these. I don't have any experience with the other two amps. I have played a Reverb, but from what I know and from what I've heard, you know. So when you have an amp that's that high headroom and you add this Klon on there, it like pushes some mids a bit, and it's adding the gain, but yeah, this is mega inspiring for me. If you are not enjoying this as much as I am, I apologize. All right, TS10. That is so cool. All right, Blues Breaker. I love me a Blues Breaker. I've never heard John break chords like that, so I would love to know like what he sounds like playing those chords. Such a weird, nerdy thing and stupid thing to care about, but he doesn't do that. So I love doing that. Like, gives me an idea of how the amp reacts overall when you play light, when you begin, neck pickup, same thing. All right, so the Blues Breaker, honestly, to me, this one has... Oh, I turned the level down. That's why. I want to turn the... I don't know what I was thinking. So the Blues Breaker, I have like an original one. This is the only thing that, like, I don't know. It could be the fact that I'm not used to playing these amps too, but something about this doesn't remind me like 100% of my Blues Breaker. I still think it sounds great. I really like it, but this is not as identical. Still really like it. All right, I'm gonna go turn off the studio verb for this because I want to hear this. What am I doing here? Spring off. Okay, I want to hear how this millipede sounds. So this is from the Stately Blues preset that's got the millipede delay on it. Like, you can't it's one repeat. Like this knob does not go, yeah, the knob doesn't go any further down. It is on one repeat. The blend is really low. Like it is just offset enough from 65.7 milliseconds. Like it's really, really, really short. But that's what he does to kind of like give it some extra space. Let's turn it up. It's like in the neighborhood of double the amount of time, the amount of milliseconds, and it's sounds, you can barely tell a big difference. But all right, so let's scoot along. I want to hear this harmonic trem. So that's gotta not be how it's set up for the gravity sound. Yeah, no, it's the intensity's way lower. That trem is nice and light. Here's the spring, which, you know. So the de-esser, the compressor is a de-esser, and that's apparently how John sets it, which when you have amps that are this big and loud and dynamic, having a little something to kind of control what's going on is helpful. Like your favorite guitar tones on records, John's included, have been processed. So even playing the exact same rig he used on whatever song is like your pinnacle tone for him, if you don't have this stuff going on after it or in addition to it, it could very well not sound the same. So here it is without it. I'm curious to know how different it is. Well, it doesn't even say there's any gain reduction going on. So those lights aren't even going off. Let's just go back to default, see what happens. I mean, if I'm... It's saying there's not even any gain reduction. And you see these knobs, like the input here. This is the gravity lead, not even the default. The gravity lead, the input's at like 1, which, from what I know about compressors, if it's that low, you're not driving the thing. So, I mean, if we crank it, there you go. You can hear that. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to default to get back to settings. Okay, so you can run these amps individually. This is just the 2-rock. This is just the Dumble. This is just the Vibroverb. You link to use the amps matching cap unlinked to mix and match. Oh, okay. How do you do that? Oh, okay. So if you want to use, that's cool. So you see here, it automatically shows you like what the cab is. So if you want to mix and match, so if you want to use the 2-rock cab for... Let's go back to... Okay, a little more mids on the Vibroverb. So if you click on... There's a... Where did the microphones... Oh, okay. So if you click on the speaker up here, you can see the microphones on the cab. And... move them around, it looks like. That's cool. pan things. Let's see, can I go all three? What do I look at? Okay, so you can't do anything with that. So if you have all three on, then you can't adjust anything, the whole point there is to get the Mayer experience. So that makes sense. But I want to know, like, he's got some sounds specifically on I Don't Trust Myself on the continuing recording, not Where the Light Is. That tone of like the outro solo is so good to me. So he's got this room sound that I think is really cool. And this real like slinky metallic kind of tone, like in all the best ways. And there's something else on like Search for Everything, and blanking on a song right now because I'm just thinking about this in the moment. But it's just so good and it's very unique. He doesn't get that sound very often. I know you're watching this video and you're like, I didn't need to watch your video. If you're just gonna play pentatonic riffs for 50 minutes, I could just actually listen to John Mayer. Yeah, I get that. Sorry, I'm having fun. Okay, so EQ as well as the de-esser, which we talked about, and here is like your post processing, like. I mean, it's a great sound and delay. The hardness, that's a thing on the chrono delay. So that's what I think it is. Oh, there's a plate option too. Let's see. Can we get some, I want some ambient stuff. Like he So in Love on the Weekend, John uses, at least I saw him talk live about getting a pedal, which I'm pretty sure was like a New Neighbor Slate, or one of the New Neighbor pedals that he could run the verbos, or the immerse, the wet, the slate, I don't know. And he talked about writing Love on the Weekend. And I mean, this is a plate, this isn't exactly, but I just wanted to mess with it. All right, so we're here. I just dialed in a PW thing. That is just me having fun with the Mayer plugin. That was awesome. Yeah. So I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I was like, I don't know many Mayer riffs, and you're probably thinking, why are you demoing this or whatever? I don't know. And if you're at this video, you must genuinely want to listen to this, and that's why I put it at the end. I didn't want to bore people at the beginning, but I remember distinctly being in my parents' car. I lived in Japan. My dad was in the military. And we lived in Japan for 3 years. And I remember distinctly being in my parents' car after, like, I'm guessing soccer. And I remember being done for the day. I would guess it was a Saturday, it was the middle of the day. This is a very specific vision. And I remember hearing, I know it was John Mayer. It was either No Such Thing or Why Georgia on the radio. And I have this moment, I just remember thinking, what is this? This is amazing. And I was, I had to be at least 10, but probably 11 or 12. I don't remember exactly. Obviously, it was when Room for Squares was out, so whatever, if anybody cares enough to figure that out. And I remember thinking it was so good and always wanting, because this was when you couldn't get music unless you bought a CD, really. And my parents were very protective, not wanting to let me just listen to anything. And maybe if I raised the stink about getting that John Mayer CD, maybe I would have gotten it. I don't know. But you couldn't look for lyrics online either. So the second I got it, my dad saw Your Body's a Wonderland. I probably would have had the thing taken from me. As a 10-year-old, inevitably, I was wondering what that meant, I guess, anyways. But, my parents were trying to raise me right, and I have no problems with that. I wouldn't let my kid listen to that either. But I remember then moving back to the States and hitting 7th grade, 8th grade, and Heavier Things came out, and just being like, man, this guy's good. I really like this guy, like, a lot. And I really need to go to hold of some of his stuff. And then high school came around, and one of my friends burned me a copy of, sorry, John, I've since made up for it, I promise. Burned me a copy of Heavier Things and No Room for Squares. And I had both of those albums. And I wore them out until Continuum came, and I was so excited about Continuum. It was so cool. I remember after my freshman year of college, I stayed behind at school. I lived in Lynchburg. I went to Liberty University in like 07. And I was working at Starbucks, and I stayed behind that summer, and I ordered the Where the Light Is DVD and CD combo pack, and it was set to release on whatever date it was set to release. And I assumed that meant it would ship that day, but I actually got it in the mail the day before it was even set to actually be released. And I was leaving this house I was living in for the summer to head to work at Starbucks, and I saw it. And I was like, I'm so excited. I want to watch. I want to listen. And I had like a 15-minute drive, and I just crammed as much. And I sat in the car up until the last minute, and I was late going into work because I saw that there weren't a lot of people inside. And I sat and I listened as long as I could. And I have this weird memory of like calling while I was sitting in the parking lot and being like, hey, can I have like 5-10 extra minutes or whatever? I feel like I did that because I just wanted to keep listening. I was blown away. And I'd already been playing guitar at that point. Not when I first heard No Such Thing. I knew at that point I'd played some piano, and I started playing guitar when I was about 13. So when I got really into John, I was already playing guitar. And I'm in a really cool spot. I get to play with gear and make guitar products and videos for a living. A lot of people, this is just a hobby. It's just a passion. It's something you're excited about. And that's what you do. You're watching this for fun. You really enjoy all this kind of thing. Here I am. I'm looking at this the whole time. My apologies. Someone will address you. Just trying to recall a story. But I feel like for me, even though this is what I do for a living, there's something about John's music that makes me not want to learn it in a good way. Because it allows me to just feel the magic of music. I'm not always analyzing it. I'm not always wanting to figure out how we got that sound. Sometimes I don't obsess over it. I don't spend loads and loads of time doing it. And we do have a preset, Tone Mayer, like the mayor of Tone Town, but John Mayer, Tone Mayer that you can get. And this may actually help me kind of tweak some things. So I may be going back and learning some things and issuing an update. But there's something special about the magic of listening to music without any desire to learn anything or to figure something out, just to exist. And I'm actually really bad about lyrics, period. My wife can tell you that. I was a worship leader for a while, for a large part of my life, from like high school when I was like, 15 till I was 30-ish maybe. So 15 some odd years, 17 years, depending, I don't remember. And I just, lyrics then were different. You know, I didn't always. I had to learn them so I could lead those songs a little bit better. But when it comes to like lyrics of any artist other than like the songs I had to sing and lead, I just never really. I didn't often pay attention. And the same was true for Mayer's music. I just didn't always care to learn things. And this is inspiring me to figure out how to play more of his stuff because it feels so good. It sounds so good. It's a really cathartic, a really exciting experience for me personally. Some people may not think anything of it. Like, oh yeah, cool. It sounds like Mayer. Or like, oh yeah, I use a tone like that all the time. But to me, this means a little bit more. So it's real exciting to check this out. And that's why I just don't know as many Mayer riffs. I have some stuff under my fingers, but there's like the nuances and like the pickups and the ghost notes. I was saying this earlier. It just doesn't, I never had the desire to learn. And honestly, the funny part is like in my top 5 favorite songs of all time, one is a James Taylor song called Copperline. And the other is like Why Georgia, No Such Thing, and Stop This Train. Largely acoustic songs. So 4 out of my top 5 songs, and probably my 5th favorite song is Everybody Wants to Rule the World. So there's a guitar there. Like music is my job. It's what I do day in and day out. And I always want to listen to music. But it's also my passion. And so it's really cool to not feel like they are crossing over in an unhealthy way where it robs the joy of it. And so I'll go to concerts by myself. I pay extra money for, there's a venue in town called the Ritz, and you can pay money to have a seat up there, and you can actually sit in the balcony while everybody's standing. And I'm like, yeah, I'm here to relax and enjoy myself and to really just submerge myself in the music and watch it. And John wouldn't play at a venue like that because he'd need one at least 5-10 times the size of that. But sitting down and enjoying music is what I love to do. Just sitting down in the evenings, putting on a record, not really doing anything but listening. Like I enjoy doing that. So it's really cool to have those two things coincide, but also still be very separate. And so for this to exist, very exciting thing for me. So I just wanted to show you guys that and show you what it's like. So it's kind of like a demo. I don't really have any thoughts to offer in the way of like critique. I would like to know why we can't have the Two Screamer and the Blues Breaker separate. It would have been cool to have stacked those. Maybe I'm missing something. I mean, you're experiencing this as I experienced it in the moment. Find it interesting that there's no chorus. Mayer's not using that a lot, but he does some. And so I would have liked to have tried to see how he dials that stuff in. But overall, like, it is inspiring, and if nothing else, that is worth the price of admission. I mean, I didn't pay for it yet, but I'm probably gonna at this point. But I want this now. I'm playing. I'm like, oh man, this is really giving me like. I feel like I'm playing Mayer's rig for the first time. I've tried dialing things in. I have a lot of pedals. Like I have a Klon, I have a TS10, I have an original Blues Breaker, I have a chrono delay. I have other things. Like I have a Qtron. I have katanas, like I have stuff. I don't have the actual octopus that he uses, but I've tried dialing in things exactly as he does, and it's exciting, but I do think the missing piece has always been the amps, because these amps, and this is kind of more like philosophy of tone that I know about Mayer, each amp is there because of a certain EQ characteristic it has. And when you combine all three, they're always all on. It's not like one's dirty and he switches between them. It's not wet, dry, wet. Maybe he does something like that actually, but it's light, if that. What I understand is it's all three on at the same time. Don't know if he's doing wet, dry, wet, but I know he keeps like verbs and stuff in the effects loop of certain things. For all that kind of stuff though, 2 people that you should definitely check out: the John Mayer Gear page on Instagram and Justin Jeske here on YouTube on Instagram as well. Those are 2 pages, guys, who I look to a lot for stuff, and it's a lot of fun for me. If you made it this far, why don't you drop a goat emoji in the comments, just because Mayer's the goat, especially if he's a big inspiration for you or somebody you love listening to and learning about as much as I do. So anyways, thank you for joining us here on Signal Theory. This is not sponsored by Neural in any way, shape, or form. I grabbed the trial on my own to put this in a video. So go grab it, go check it out if you haven't. We'll see you next time. Peace.